briefly, just to say something about the predictions. Several things here that are basically the foundation of our business. We talk about design, hardware, sustainability in our case, electrification. We have not really come to the sex and power thing yet, but it will come. Anyway, my name is Magnus Norden. I'm the founder of Ultra Trucks. Last time I was here, I got criticized because I didn't come to the product quick enough. Yeah. So anyway, here you see it. It's a truck. Well, we have...
This is how you started last time.
Yeah, you know, we're learning. Yeah. So anyway, there are lots of changes in the logistics industry, and we're trying to mitigate some of the problems that are there. We are seeing problems in today's logistics industry as such. Of course, we have the emissions, the harmful emissions. We have a driver shortage, where probably you are attacking some of it, but anyway, we are looking at that. And when talking about driver shortage, it's really not for the smaller vehicles, it's 3.5 ton and up, a shortage all over Europe. We have safety issues when it comes to, well, the drivers as such, but pedestrian and bikers, etc. And we have, when shifting from what the fleet owners know very well, which is how to run a diesel fleet, and moving to electric, there is a number of things they don't know, and we try to mitigate that for them. So this is, no criticize about JS Åkeri, but this is a classical truck. And what have you then? You have in the front, you have steps that the driver have to walk up. You have a seating position where there are lots of blind spots, and of course, with the diesel, you have emissions, and you have, when you are the driver, you have to jump out to the street all the time. You cannot do it on the pavement side. So we then really start with electric drive as a basis for what we're doing. The electric engine is much smaller than the diesel engine. So, and if you construct a truck like this, you have to maximize the load space, so you push the diesel engine forward, and that's the design of a classical design. The electric engine is much smaller. We can put it under the, I don't know where this is. Anyway,
that was Holsgatan, where you're not allowed to drive.
Exactly. So anyway, what we are doing, I don't know why the picture is like that, but anyway, we have the engine under the box, which means that we can totally redesign the cab. And we then put, as you see, we put it much lower, which means that the driver can, more or less like a bus, step straight in. They don't have these problems with knees and hips and jumping, etc. We can put the driver in the center, which means he can exit on the pavement side. We maximize the direct vision from the cab. And we have sliding doors, so it's not a door coming up when a biker or a motorcyclist pass the truck. And this is rendering of the interior of the truck. It's also a fact that most, if we look at the driver shortage issue, the average age of a truck driver in the UK is 56 years old. In France, it's 55. So if it's a shortage today, in 10 years' time, half of them are retired. So the business have to get younger people into the profession. And then, if you go back 20 years, 25 years, most of the guys that became truck drivers were sitting or in the garage fixing with a moped or their car early on, and then they became truck drivers. The same guys today is sitting in a room playing computer games, which means that the interactivity of the cab should be much different or improved. So Then to mitigate the sort of aversion to go to new technology, we are saying we take the kind of technology risk on our hand, or we build up the competence, which means that we will have a full, what we call track as a service. So everything included besides the actual driver. What is that? That is all the hardware. It's installing charging infrastructure. It's electricity is everything. And we build up the expertise for that. So the fleet operators can really concentrate on the core business. What is very important in this kind of sector is uptime. So we have to guarantee an uptime. We have that back that up with mobile service units and replacement trucks, etc. And we can do that as we sign long-term contracts with the customers. We're aiming for 7-year contracts and one flat fee every month over 7 years. Then a little bit, so we have quite a lot of argument short term why we should be better than the existing trucks. Then the question is how can we maintain that sort of advantage over time? And I think as we, similar to what you said about yourself, not having the legacy, we can already from the beginning think data, think how to generate data, not only exterior, but also interior. How do the drivers use, for example, voice services or other things can we improve over time? And also we don't have to really install all the fancy equipment from day one. As we own the trucks over time, we can basically call them back and install things over time. So if we then look at in the car business anyway, when you go from diesel to electric, you all talk about how long can you drive, is that a problem or not? So we are very focused. We're focused on inner city distribution in big cities. As I said, not 3.5 ton trucks, but bigger trucks, up to 18 ton. And if we look at even for this kind of distribution traffic in Stockholm, the average is more or less somewhere 60 to 80 kilometers a day. When I come to Paris, it's more 40, 50. So with battery capacity up to 150 kilometers a day is enough. If we talk about a little bit remote, we are based in, well actually my partner is based in Gothenburg, I'm in Stockholm, but we are looking, the first markets we will attack is London and Paris. Why London and Paris? It's partially the biggest cities have the biggest problems, but it's also they are the most regulated. In Paris they say no diesel within A86 by 2024. In London they have already started what they call ULEZ or ultra low emission zones. And we then are of course staffing up there. So, could I have some water? So, how do we summarize? Well, we know the market, it's there. We have a design that nobody else has come even close, the bigger OEMs, etc. I think we have really built a well-balanced team of different expertise. And we have the feeling especially with the kind of the tailwind of regulations, the timing is now. So that in short is, we've got, I think, we see from the press coverage we are getting that we have something, there is a general interest out there for what we're doing. So yeah, that's it.
I'm curious to hear your feedback. My first thought is, you didn't touch on what is probably another obvious but very relevant data point, which is the Amazons and e-commerces is driving up the need for trucks driving into cities by a significant magnitude. And simultaneously, the cities are going to start pushing on electrification of vehicles in the cities, and the convergence of those two things make room for something like this. There might be a third or fourth.
It's talking into a lot of trends.
Yeah.
Maybe some more words on the background of the team. Now, I know because we met in the past, but maybe for the people who haven't.
Sure. I have a slide on that. So I founded this, or I started this idea 3.5 years ago, or something like that. And my first step was really trying to understand, does this work? So I got the agency for Sweden for a Dutch-based converter from diesel to electric, which gave me the opportunity to go out and try to sell this stuff to PostNord and Bring, etc., etc. And then anyway, obviously I don't have the trucking or the automotive background. So STHLM joined me. He has 20 years from the automotive industry. He has built a plant in China for Volvo and Polestar, etc., etc. And then actually very early on, we got our first seed money in May of last year. So things have accelerated quite quickly, I would say. Max has a really communication manager. He has a very solid sustainability interest, I would say. He was the communication manager for the Swedish Green Party, Miljöpartiet, 2014, and before that he has been running an ad agency in New York. The more recent recruit is Rob Fowler, he has not started yet. He's starting next month as CEO. He has 10 years from DPD, which is basically on the buyer side of what we're doing. James has 4 years or more than that of JP Morgan, and so on.
Okay.
And
they're going to invite you to lunch, and they're going to get you to do it.
but anyway, I just want to say Mark is the super salesman. He's our French guy. We are looking at manufacturing in the Czech Republic, so I pulled in one of the best guys from manufacturing in the Czech Republic.
Cool.